and she saw me my work, and she told me that she had never seen anything that looked like that, and she thought that I had a chance with NFTs. So it was March, I think, 2021. She gave me an invitation to Foundation.
GM, welcome to another episode of the podcast. This week I sat down with Ivan, a multidisciplinary artist from Panama who lives in Argentina. Hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so if you want to introduce yourself, who is Ivan or Ivan?
Ivan. Yeah. Well, my name is Ivan Casis Jr. Just like my dad. Um, I'm from Panama. I've been living in Argentina for 6 years now. I moved here in 2017 with my wife and my daughter. And I'm an architect. I spent most of my life working as an architect, but now I'm basically a full-time NFT artist, and I have a couple of commission works here and there. So that's what I do most of my time.
How long have you been an architect for?
Oof, long time. Uh, uh, I'm not just. I don't have like just the same name like my dad. I do the same thing. My dad is an architect too.
Oh man.
Yeah, yeah. I just, I'm 44 years old. I finished high school in 1996. So back in the day in Panama, there weren't like too many careers to choose from where you could use your creativity. So I decided to go with architecture. It's not like it was my only choice. I had a couple of choices, but between art and architecture, it was like a logical choice for me. Having my dad's. I was surrounded by architecture my whole childhood. My dad used to work at home for a couple of years, so I was familiar with the tools he used to have. So, and with the language, with stuff. So I architecture was around all the time. So it was like a logical decision for me. So I started working with my dad at his studio in around year 2000, year 2000, until I moved here in 2017. But when I moved to Argentina, I keep on working at works um, um, remotely. So because my the thing that I used to do the most is like take care of the design part. Design. I was like architectural designer. I wasn't going too much to the site, the construction site. I spent more of my time designing and 3D modeling and all that stuff.
That's awesome, man. So you got to see, um, because it shifted, right? Like the tools probably that your dad used has changed now,
Yes,
right? So like now, do you guys use like CADs and stuff like that, or just like more software, or more computers?
exactly. That's exactly the time where I started working with him. Is why it's around the time that everything shifted to digital. When I started uh, uh, college, we weren't even allowed to work with computers. It was just in the middle of the whole change. Some of the old school teachers didn't want us to work with computers. I I started college, and the first day that I started, I took a AutoCAD course. So it was back in the day. It was even when AutoCAD was called AutoCAD Air R14. 14. It wasn't out like now that is AutoCAD 2024. I don't know. That is with the year. And yeah, I actually when I started working with my dad, there wasn't any computer around. He was and still is at 75 years old. He doesn't work with computers. He draws everything by hand. So when I started working with him in year 2000, I made him to I brought the first computer to the studio, and now most of the work is made by computer.
Yeah, it's crazy how uh, like some of these industries shift so dramatically, based on technology and stuff like that. Because I like visualize like what you're saying, like your dad being, like old school, all paper, like archival level paper and all that, and then like the storage of that paper and those files. If you ever need to retrieve it, like in the future,
Mhm.
and then now it's just like it's all digital. You
Computer.
can see it in 3D. You can manipulate it. You can. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff where like I mean, this not might be the same for you, but like like where you could run like simulations on like how a structure will behave, under like wind conditions or under certain weights or whatever. So it's super different now, I imagine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's something like it depends. When you have like a big studio, all those things are made in house. But in our case, we used to work with every all of that, but it was like outsourcing. We used to outsource all of that, and big, as I told you, when I started, it was like there were no computers at all at the office. So I kind of shifted everything to digital, and today it's like that. But things change radically, completely. It's a whole different thing. I spent most of my time behind a computer, 3D modeling or drawing everything on CAD software, and it's completely different from when I started with those big drafting tables and the rulers and all the pencils and everything. It shifted drastically.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, um, were you an artist? Like in the sense of what people think of when they think of art. Because to me, like even those architecture design things, I don't know like the proper term for them, but like to me, even those are even very very beautiful. It's not art like in the sense of what people think of art, but to me, it looks very, it's very pleasing to the eye when it's very nice. So were you doing any other art outside of kind of like your work before Web3?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said at the beginning, when I was a little kid, there was a time that I thought that I was gonna be an artist. But when the time to choose your major came, I ended up studying architecture. But something weird happened to me because when I was a little kid, I was like a pretty good artist for my age. I won my first art competition when I was, I think, at like 7 years old, and I won a couple more like when I was 8, 10, and that's how it went most of my childhood. When I was in school, I was like I used to draw everything for class, like the graduation T-shirt, the graduation posters, everything. I used to do everything, and all of my classmates used to say that, "Oh man, this is going. You're the artist of the group. You're gonna be the artist. everyone, as a joke, everyone used to say, "We're gonna be buying your art when you are when we get older, and we're gonna all have pictures painted by you on our houses." But uh, I don't know, something shifted for me when I decided to study architecture. I think that I kind of blocked everything. When I was in my senior year in high school, I remember that I was studying at a Catholic university, a Catholic school, and one of the priests, um, which was a professor, gave me a brochure from a art university in the States, and he told me, "Hey man, I think you are the best artist in the class, and you should think about pursuing a career in art. We've seen what you can do. So talk to your parents." And so I went home and I took the info. And at the time, my parents didn't like much too much the idea. I think in part because it was kind of expensive at the time, and those were like rough years in Panama, and also because I think they it's like a cultural thing. You know how it is in the States, that when you turn 18 years old, you're making your packaging everything and thinking about leaving home.
Yeah.
But in Latin America, it's kind of different. You kind Most of my friends stay at home until they get married or something.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. I didn't. But when I start, oh, I think I'm I'm driving. I'm getting away of the subject. But
No,
the thing is
you're
that
good, man. You're
I
good.
when I decided to study architecture, I kind of blocked everything related to art. I was like obsessed with architecture. Like I decided, okay, I'm gonna be an artist. I'm gonna be an architect, and I'm gonna be the best architect I can possibly be. So I spent all of my free time like buying architecture magazines and books and learning software, 3D software and 2D software, everything that I could like to to working on my craft to be like the best architect possible. And I put art aside for a while. So that's something that it's I don't know if it was the best call, but that's what I did until I finished my architecture career, and then I decided to go travel to Argentina for a master's degree, and that's when everything changed for me.
Got it. So you ended up going to Argentina just to get your master's degree in architecture as well.
Yeah, in it was in advanced architecture design, because that's what I used to like, because I always was a creative kid and good with my hands drawing and everything. So I wanted to be even better as a designer. I had the luck. I was lucky enough to have the chance, working with my dad, to design buildings and stuff that were actually built when I was like really young. I designed a 30 floor residential building when I was like 21. Actually, I haven't even finished the career. I did the design, but I didn't. But I didn't have to sign for the documents.
Yeah.
I just made the design. But yeah, that I decided to spend all of my time in architecture until I moved to Buenos Aires for that master degree. And the funny thing is that I started seeing um, on museums and art galleries the type of stuff that I always wanted to do. Because when I one of I decided to focus all my energy in architecture. And also, something that happened to me in Panama is that when I went to art galleries, I never saw things that looked like things that I would have wanted to make. because it was like too traditional art, like landscapes and abstract
Expressionism and stuff like
pictures.
that. Abstract, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that. Yeah, exactly. So, and the things that I wanted to do is like a mixture between drawing and painting. So when I started seeing those stuff, like I was like, man, this is what I want to do. And at the same time, I had with all the tools that I got studying architecture, it was like, oh man, this is what I want to do, man. And when I went to Argentina, I started drawing again. It was around year 2006. Between 2000, I was living in Buenos Aires between 2006 and 2009, and that's when I started drawing again.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Um, no, this is super interesting to me. So how would you describe the art that you do now? Like like what do you think is like the name for it?
Um, I the most of my work on Web3 is all um, three drawings that in isometric view. Isometric view. I don't know if you know what isometric view is.
No.
Isometric view is like a type of
Uh huh.
perspective view, where everything is drawn with 30 degrees angles in both sides. There's a 30-degree angle between the horizon and the base of the drawing.
Oh,
I
okay.
think that
Yeah.
it's all 30 degree. So it's, when you see something in perspective, um, you can see proportions and everything, but you can't measure things. For example, if you see a person that is close to the camera, you cannot measure and no can measure something, but it's not the same proportion that something that's far from the camera. But in isometric view, things have the same proportion, actual proportion. Like, so if there's a character that has two 1.8 meters from height, its size in proportion with the building that's next to him. So I don't know if I was too clear, but the thing is that all of my works are in isometric view. So I think, yeah, and that's something that I learned during architecture in architecture school. Oh no, really, to be honest, I started doing it formally in architecture school, but that time of drawings, I used to make it at home with my dad tools when I was a kid. When my dad was away, and I entered his studio and I started playing with his tools, and I was drawing with those things like pretty early. So going back to your question, sorry,
No, you're okay.
I I think that if I had to put a name of the thing that I do, I would say like it's like technical surrealism or something like
Uh
that.
huh. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of technical stuff. It's like technical drawing, but none of it makes sense, So I don't know. Maybe that could be a name for it.
I like it. No, that's a good description actually. Like you said, if you had to put a name to it, I like that one. And yeah, I appreciate the background on the isometric stuff. Like, I didn't, I know exactly now. Like when I think about your image, like your work in my head, I know exactly what you're talking about with the view. So that makes sense. I
Yeah,
didn't know that
it's
that was the name
something.
of it.
Yeah.
So how did you get involved? Like from going from the architecture space and moving to Argentina for your masters and all that. Like I know Argentina has a really big crypto like community. How did you get involved with Web3, or how did you transition into Web3?
Yeah, it was some years after that, because when I moved to I ended my master's degree. I got married and I moved with my wife back to Panama, but I wanted to start making art, so I came back to my dad's uh, firm, architecture firm, and I started working there again. But I wanted to make art, so I started drawing a lot more. I even started an art blog where I publish some works of artists that I liked, and also I make like some interviews to some artists that I used to like, that I still like, and I had some cool conversations with a couple of well-known artists that were kind enough to answer my questions. And but then I started making art, so I started looking for what to look for a style of what I wanted to do. So the thing liked it was making these super detailed works, and combining and making things that make sense, some things that doesn't make sense. But you can see the architecture is always present in the things that I do. So I started doing that stuff, and then something really cool happened, is that at my dad's studio, one of my bro my this, I didn't mention this, but I don't want to talk too much about it because it's gonna take too much time. Both of my brothers are architects too.
Oh, that's awesome. That's like a whole family thing.
Yeah,
Oh, this is
yeah.
great.
My two younger brothers are architects too. So I we did well. We did well when I came back to from Argentina. We were like all at full strength. Both of my brothers went away to study at the same time that I did. I'm the oldest. I came to Buenos Aires. My Juan Jose, my brother in the middle, went to Madrid,
Oh, wow.
and Gonzalo, the younger, went to New York. He had his master at Columbia University.
Wow.
So yeah, it was awesome. I went to visit him, and I stayed 45 days in New York. I was playing around the city. So, but the thing is that when one of my brothers was selling a laser cutter, a big one of those big laser cutting machines,
Mm-hmm.
and we decided to buy it for the studio. So me and my Juan Jose, my other brother, the middle brother, we started making laser cut art.
Oh,
We
okay. That's
started
cool.
like I started making wall installations, and he started making sculptures, laser cut sculptures. He did super well. He won 2 times the National Art Award from sculpture. Doing it was like something like really cutting edge, because no one in Panama had ever done anything like that. And it was a acrylic sheets laser cut and made a big sculpture. So what I did was I started doing wall installations, and the drawings that I make, I I started working with vector illustrations, so that the laser cut could what's the word, sorry, I what's my word, instead of cutting is engraving.
Yeah. Okay.
So the laser could engrave my drawings in wood or in acrylic sheets. So I started playing with that, and that was then I showed that to our gallery, and they were really impressed, because they had never seen anything like that in Panama. So I started selling my works, and on galleries was around 2012, I guess, 11, 12, I'm not sure. And I kept selling my works in a couple of galleries in Panama until I decided to move here to Argentina. So that was my first um, like my first formal art shows and that kind of stuff. So in on Web3, it was something completely different because when I moved here to Argentina, I I I already had the style of artworks that I wanted to make, but the thing is that the laser cutter wasn't here with me; it stayed back there in Panama. So I shifted to drawing more and started playing around with animations. It's funny because the most important reason I switched it was because I got my first iPad and I was in love with my iPad, drawing in the iPad. But at the same time, uh, when my kids were born, everything changed for me because it was a lot more difficult to spend time painting. You know, you have to paint, you have to prepare everything, the paintings, the water, the canvas, everything. And the iPad gave me the flexibility to work in a dark room with a 2 year old boy in my hand, you know.
Yeah.
So my kid was sleeping in one hand and the other one I was drawing with the lights out. So I started doing that a lot more, and I started playing around with animation until the pandemic hit. So when, like I said, when I came to here, I was still making some works, to architectural works, architecture designs to for my dad and the office in Panama. But when the pandemic hit, you know how it was, man. Everything stopped. Everything stopped, and architecture stopped, and all of a sudden, nobody know what it was going to happen, and I didn't have a way to earn money to make a living
Yeah.
because architecture stopped, and I didn't have anything to do. And that's when I started looking for ways to sell my art online. And I think I always say that I had a bad break in what in because that would have been a very good moment to dive into crypto, but I didn't. I stumbled upon. Yeah, if I would started if I knew about NFTs in 2019 or 2020, it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the time when everything was starting. So I started looking for platforms where I could sell my work, and I basically couldn't find anything. So I started getting some gigs as an animator on freelance platforms. I started offering my work. Funny thing is that I, to be honest, I have never made like a actual animation. I was all test and just playing around with drawings, trying to make things that move with my iPad. So when I came to those platforms, um, you have to make a reel of your show reel of the work that you have done. So I put everything that I had done at the moment there, and I started offering my works. But to be honest, I had no idea what to do. So yeah, I started offering my services as an animator, and I started getting a couple of kicks, and I I made it work. I made it work. Everything went fine, and I started getting some reps and learning more about animation every time more. So uh, when the time came, when NFTs came in 2021, I was lucky enough. Um, I had another lucky break. I had a good luck break. I was just making my research around February 2021, and I started learning about NFTs. So I talked to my brother and we in Panama, and he told me that I knew a girl called Itzel. and she was into generative art, and he started talking to me about her, and they didn't actually know each other personally, but they used to chat a lot, and it ended up being itself yard, it shells. Maybe you know about her.
IX
She's
shells.
IX shells, yeah,
Yeah,
IX shells.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's her. So I started talk chatting to her with her. She's from Panama too, and she saw me my work, and she told me that she had never seen anything that looked like that, and she thought that I had a chance with NFTs. So it was March, I think, 2021. She gave me an invitation to Foundation, and I started minting my work there, and that's how things started.
Oh man,
Yeah,
wow.
it was
That's
it
actually
was
that's a
super crazy.
really great person to kind of get you into the space.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? The funny thing is that she's awesome. She's helped me a lot. She's been like a good friend, and taught me a lot, especially back in the day when I met her back in 2021. It was just before everything blew up for her. She was an awesome artist like she is today, but she wasn't she wasn't like like a legend. I you know
Yeah,
what I'm
no, no, I
saying?
know what you mean. Like she has blown up now for sure.
Yeah, yeah. It was crazy. To be honest, when I talked to her when she made like the first big sales that she had, and she was so excited and happy, and she didn't know what was happening. She was as shocked as everybody because she she know what she was capable of doing, but sometimes you know what you're capable of doing, but it has to be like a combination of like luck and talent and everything, and she had her break, and now the rest is history.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, like even if you have the talent, sometimes it takes other people time to come around to your style of art or work. Um,
Yeah,
because it's all subjective too. Like something you might like, someone else might not like. So it's just yeah, like you said, it's a little bit of luck, a little bit of everything.
yeah.
Man, that's crazy. That's awesome story. Have you actually met her in real life now?
Actually not, because when we met, we started talking in 2021, and I haven't been back to Panama since that year. I since the pandemic hit, I haven't get back. I'm making plans of going this year to the holidays,
Uh huh.
so maybe we're gonna have a chance to finally meet in person. But she's been super cool, man. She actually collected my first piece on Foundation, and she's always been really really supportive of what I do, and when somebody that has had so much success gives you like those kind of kind words and talks well about you, it makes you feel hopeful that someday you can have not the same, obviously, but that you can uh, like make it.
Yeah. No, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's reinforcing. Yeah, I know what you mean. Agreed.
Yeah, but validation is might be
Validation. Yeah.
a good one.
Man, that's that's a crazy story, man. No, seriously. So, uh, what is the source of like your inspiration for your current art, or just in general?
As you can see, architecture is always present on
Yeah.
the things that I do. So you don't have to ask. Most of the people ask me without knowing, are you an architect, right? Without seeing my bio, or reading the information. Architecture is always present, but I'm one of the things that comes to my mind is that my work is a reflection of the things that has happened to me in my life. Like, architecture is like what I used to do for for most of my life. Um, the place I mean, the toys that I used to play when I was a kid. I used to play with Lego all the time. I used to play with Transformers, and those things are like always present. Like, there are always mechanical stuff in my drawings, in my illustrations, my animations. They are transforming things all around. I One of the things that I love the most doing is morphing figures, things that change from one way to another. And and like I said, it's a reflection of the things that I enjoy the most in my life: technology. And I'm kind of old now. I'm 44. I grew up when MTV was a thing. So I always, when I used to watch MTV, as a teenager, as a young adult, I enjoyed those. How do they call them? Like those commercials with the MTV logo that morphs into things. I don't know if you have seen them.
Uh,
M- MTV Intent. I
I'm
don't
not
know what's
remembering
the
the
word.
word, but I know what you mean. Uh,
Yeah,
oh my god.
it was super cool.
Yeah,
It was like the intro with between commercials. We used to see like MTV's logo in 3D morphing into things, and they used to hire some of the best artists around, visual artists, to make one of those what the MTV logo animations. So I always saw that thing, those kind of morphing things stuck in my head. And I don't watch much TV these days. I don't much less MTV. But every time that I see those animations, it's like going back to the future.
yeah.
It's like back to the day.
Oh man, I know you're bringing back memories now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was super cool. I every now and then I Google MTV logo. I think that the word was intent. I don't know, MTV. Or I used to to Google things like MTV logo animation, MTV promo, MTV campaign, things like that, and MTV GIF, animated GIF, everything. And so that was a real inspiration for me, always.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, sometimes you find inspiration in places that you wouldn't think. Like I would think you would say like your dad or something.
No, my dad is an artist too. So that's what when I was talking about galleries, I used to go a lot to galleries because of my dad. Because growing up in Panama, um, my dad did pretty good as an architect, but he liked art. So when there in Panama, there was in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a crisis all around the country with a dictatorship, and architecture was all architects were struggling to get work. So my dad switched to art, and he made a lot of art shows, and I went to a lot of galleries. But like I said, I never saw things like the things that I really wanted to do. So he's an inspiration. He's a role, has always been a role model for me. But we have like different tastes in art.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you, what does your dad think about? Does he know that you're in like Web3 and like what you're doing?
Yeah, he does. He
What does
you
he
know
think?
he most of the time doesn't understand what's going on, but he likes the visual stuff because as an artist, he sees my animation, he sees me working, he always praised it, but and he always was like, man, how the hell did you do that? How did you make it? The day that I explained to him that my animations are all frame by frame,
Yeah.
he told me like, man, you're crazy, man. You're crazy. What? You're a masochist. How the hell can you do that?
Oh man, I know. I was watching your YouTube video that you posted on how you how you create some of your pieces. And I'll post a link for people when they're listening to the podcast. But that was pretty crazy, man, to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that you did that behind the scenes stuff. I always appreciate that kind of stuff. But yeah, very complex. Like, how many layers do you do? Like,
Uh, it depends on the piece, and it's something that, to be honest, is getting out of control. It's something that every piece has more and more layers, and sometimes I'm telling myself like, man, you have to stop because but the first pieces, the first animations that I ever made, the funny thing is that they were made completely on Procreate for iPad.
yeah, I saw that.
So
I saw you were using Procreate.
yeah, I work in Procreate, but the way I work now, I make an entire composition. I I then animate every layer on itself like in a different file, and then at the end I put it all together on the computer on Final Cut Pro. So, but that's my entire workflow these days. But back in the day, I used to do everything on Procreate with Procreate's animation tools that are obviously frame by frame. So the first works that I actually minted, they were made from starting from an animation. I'm sorry, from an illustration. So it was an illustration that it was already done. So I took it like an experiment to, hmm, let's see what happens if I make this illustration start moving until it disappears, like a decomposition. So I started like it was great. My friends or the people that have seen how I work. They told me like, man, you're crazy. I can't get a grip of what you're doing because I started to erasing and drawing again, erase, draw again, erase, draw again, everything until the image disappears.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy to me to think about because I've used Procreate before and I tried animating some stuff, and it's exactly what you're saying right now. I mean, that's the only way I could think of how to create that animation, but I'm not like an artist or anything. But it sounds like, yeah, it's painful.
but it's fun at the same time because one of the things that I really take pride in is on hard work. I know you mean I think I always think obviously it's not like a comparison that we're on two completely different levels. But one of my favorite artists on the space is Jack Fried,
Yeah,
and uh, and you know you're familiar with his work. It's all hand drawn, everything hand drawn and scanned. It's crazy, and to me, when you can make something that looks awesome and you like it, and there's a lot of hard work behind it, it makes it, in my opinion, it makes it better. But it's my personal taste, you know.
yeah. Yeah, I think his pieces are crazy because I was like reading on Twitter that he said that he uses whiteout, which
Yes,
is
yeah,
even, you know, that's just crazy.
it, it's super crazy. I've seen a lot of interviews, and I've seen even a couple of videos of his work, of his behind the scene process, and it's crazy, man. He starts using liquid paper and painting on top of so the thing that I do is hard and it's digital. I have to redraw a lot of stuff and erase and draw, but I just the idea of making it by hand, it's super crazy. And to be honest, I if I had the time, I would love to do one of those, one using his style. And he follows me on Twitter, and I chat with him a couple of like small conversations. And I've been always like fantasizing with the idea of, okay, one day I'm gonna do one of my works with his style, with his workflow, all by hand, and I'm gonna send it to him to see what, to hear what he has to say. Maybe he likes it.
Yeah, I think that would be
So
that would be fun. I think that'd be cool to see one of your pieces done in his format.
yeah, it's incredible what he
Also
does.
crazy though. Yeah. Would you use whiteout too?
Maybe, maybe I, it will be, I there's, I one thing that happens to me is that sometimes, um I have a lot of friends, artist friends, that are always complaining about, or not complaining, are worried about creative block, about having a creative block. Like, man, I don't know what to do. I need to make a new piece and I don't know what to do. And I I have the contrary. It's exactly the contrary what happens to me. I have so many ideas that I'm plenty of time, most of the times, get a little bit frustrated because I can't make them happen, all because I don't have enough time. Now that I have kids, it's like way worse. But when we were talking about Jake Fred, I there was once, I have a little notebook where I write everything that I want to do. And I once write that I wanted to do something like Jack Fred does, but also uh, using scissors, like cutting out things and making it like a lot of layers and transforming everything. And those things are sometimes trapped in my head, and I can't do it because I don't have the time.
Yeah, time is hard, man. I have a recently my wife had a kid or we have a kid and
Yeah.
I agree with you. Time is hard.
You know,
Yeah.
it changed. Everything changes forever.
Yeah, hey, that's pretty much it. I wasn't trying to be too uh over exaggerate, but yeah, it does change. Uh yeah. Um Speaking of kind of something that I was thinking about, I think you were talking about, how you write things down that you want to do, kind of random. Have you ever thought about, because I was looking at your most recent piece, which is around Pepe, or
Yeah.
I guess we can't say the word Pepe either because apparently they got the IP or whatever. But the frog. Have you ever thought about doing a fake rare?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about it when I was creating this piece.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly it. I was like, this piece would have been one. This piece is amazing. I really like this piece.
thank you.
And but yeah, like I feel like because I was just thinking about the reason why I'm thinking about it is like because Jake Fried, he has a really cool fake rare as well. And you were
Yeah,
talking about doing something in his style, but I was like, oh yeah, like what about a fake rare? Yeah,
yeah,
because
that I think I thought about it because, I you remember when, like, I think like it was like 1.5 years ago, when everybody was doing pepes and frogs everywhere.
Yeah,
That
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was like it was like for season 9 or whatever. Like, I swear it was like some of the biggest names were like all doing fake rares.
Yeah, everybody. So I know that I remember when when how's his name, Giga Chat Pepe,
Mm-hmm.
one of the collectors that Vince Van Don, but I I always mess up with the name. They were collecting every Pepe that was on Foundation and everything, and I was flirting with the idea of making it, but I was like, man, I don't want to make a Pepe piece because everybody's doing it. I want to make it when the time is right.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do it just because like everybody was doing it. So I decided to wait. I've been in the space for 2.5 years, and this my fifth. This was my 50th one, and I decided to go with Pepe and with the frog, and had a lot of to do with some conversations I had with some collectors and curators. I'm actually finishing the vertical crypto art residency. I've been part of that for the past couple of months. It's been awesome. I had the chance to listen to classes from really OGs and big time artists and collectors. And one of the things that stuck in my head was when one of the curators that I don't remember her name actually, that she is a curator in real life, and in New York in a couple of art galleries and also on Web3. And she said something that stuck in my head, that was that art should be a reflection of the time that we are living in, and memes are part of the world we're living in. And that's why there's a lot of people. I At the beginning I wasn't sure because I didn't know too much. Not living in the states. I come from a different culture, and I didn't the meme culture is something that has started to taking off around here in Latin America, but it isn't something as strong as in the states.
Yeah.
So that kind of made me start thinking about things that reflect our culture. And now I'm working on a new series on Super Rare that is all centered around that. And that was the first piece that I minted from that new collection.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Thank you for the little alpha.
Okay.
So
So
the current the series that you're going to be working on Super Rare is all kind of like around cultural aspects that are happening right now, basically.
but it's called Web3. So it's around Web3 and everything that's going on in Web3.
Got it. Yep.
It So that first one was about Pepe. There might be a couple here and there, from some other iconic Web3
Uh
characters,
huh.
maybe CryptoPunk around there. You don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but everything that I worked really hard on creating a visual language that people can like recognize. So I hopefully when some and to be honest, that's one of the best compliments I got since being on Web3, when someone tells me that, hey man, I saw your latest work on Twitter scrolling down, and I recognized it before seeing your name. So that's what I'm aiming for these days. I'm playing around with some different stuff because I don't want to get stuck always in the same style. But it's important for me that people can recognize what I do.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, you don't want to be limited too much, like you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah, and maybe that's where the Jake Free thing comes into. Like that's how you can pivot to something else.
Yes.
Let's see.
Hey, want to talk to you about Stejin's agreement? All this content is brought to you for free, but I want to thank all the premium subscribers, the shitheads out there that are paying. I appreciate you guys helping me continue to make this endeavor free for others. So if you are not a paying subscriber, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. Let's get back to the show. See you.
Yeah, I think kind of going back a little bit too. Sorry, we're going a little bit all over the place. I think I wanted to ask you, where are you on? Are you on Discord, right?
Yes, I am, but I'm to be honest, I'm not pretty good at Discord.
No worries, man. Yeah, I was gonna just ask
I
you like
am.
where you spend most of your time in Web3. Is it mostly on Twitter? Are you hanging out on any Discord servers or anything like that?
I know we have a couple of friends in common. I I hang out on the Click Discord
Yeah,
a couple spend some time there. That's one of the coolest communities I've been able to be part of, and those guys, OG has been super supportive with me. We've chatted a lot. He has given me a lot of advice. He collected. I think he and Cardinal were my first collectors on super rare.
yeah, I saw that
I don't
actually.
remember.
Yeah, that's actually how I found you. I think I told you that on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I forget what I was doing one day. I think I was looking at OG's wallet. I don't know why I was doing that. There must have been something I was doing, but then I like saw your piece, and I was like, "Whoa, that's super cool! Like, who is this, or what is this?" And then I saw, I was like, "Okay, so OG Cardinal." I was like, "All right, so these guys were early on this guy." I was like, "Okay," and then that's how I found out about you, was through them.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, they are super cool, man, and they've been really supportive. And Cardinal, both of them have like two or three of my works collected. So
Yeah, yeah, I think they have more than one for sure. Yeah. Yeah, the Click is a good place, man, and OG is super awesome. I've actually met OG in person, and he's just as nice in person as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't met him in person, but we have a couple of video calls, and he's a real guy, man. He's exactly like when you talk to him, he's exactly how he writes. Exactly,
Oh yeah.
he's not like
What that is 100% facts for OG. The way that he writes and talks on Twitter is exactly how he is in real life too. Which is awesome, man.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, no filters, no filters.
Yeah, no filters. Yeah, very very real person and gives good advice and all that as well. No, it's good that you hang out there, man. Yeah, I'm random. I met OG through Alpha Dog, so I'm slowly starting to like get up to speed on on what he's been up to and what he's doing and stuff like that. So yeah, so I wanted to talk to you about I think we were just talking about some of the early pieces and all that. I believe your first piece that you minted was called Game On. Uh,
Yes.
so what made you like? Why that piece? Why was that one the first one that you wanted to mint?
That one especially because that was actually my first animated work. My first animated work with the visual style that I have now. Because I was when I first moved uh, here to Argentina, no, 2017. I had the luck. of meeting the Architecture Association president, which was the mother of a guy that I know. And she saw my work and she told me, "Hey, man, we should make an exhibition of your works for in the architecture school building." So I was like, "Yeah, let's go, let's do it." So I started creating a lot of pieces, mostly in around architecture. There's a collection that I made called Skyscraper City. Skyscraper? I don't not remember the exact name. But the thing is that they were all tall buildings, and that you mentioned, Game On, that was the only one that was animated. So back in the day, when you know that was an experiment. That was something like, hey man, I want to create one of my pieces with movement, but I knew that that was something that was not going to be able to be sold to anyone. It was before NFTs, so in that moment, it was like something to show people the potential of the things that I could do. Like,
Yeah.
hey man, I can do this, but I can't sell it to you because how the hell I'm gonna sell it to you? So that's the funny thing about because what the hell? 3 years after that, we were in the NFT space selling my animated works more than my illustrations. So
Yeah, isn't
that's how
that's
it's
crazy, huh?
crazy. Yeah, it was like, man, I want to do this animation. I remember that I spent like a lot of time making it, and when I finished, I was like feeling a little like guilt, like, man, I love this, but I spent a lot of time of this, and I can't sell it to anyone. So I felt a little guilty because, man, I make has spent that time making an illustration that I could sell as a print. So that that right there, Game On, is like the beginning of my NFT adventure,
Yeah.
for lack of better word.
No, it's a great word, man. It is an adventure. No, that's awesome. I love that story. Obviously that's one of the pros, of NFTs, and I don't have to tell you the pros, but uh, has there been any limitations that you've encountered with using
Mm,
with using crypto technology, to distribute your digital art, or has it all been pretty positive for the most part?
it's been positive, really. Like, you know, sometimes there are things that um, I can be biased in my opinion because sometimes there are things that are favor you. Like, for example, when I got into foundation back in the day, it wasn't that time. It was by invitation only. No, you needed. It was like a more exclusive platform, and also, it's funny because I remember that there were people that were DMing me because they back in the day you see behind under the artist name you could see who invited him.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
remember that.
yeah, and behind under my name there was Shells, IX Shells. So people like, whoa, man, he's a friend of Ike Shells. So I think that that might be like a good break for me, a big break. But what I was saying is that my experience has been good. It was better at the beginning of foundation because every time I sold a piece, I stayed like for a week on the main page. And being on the main page meant that there were a lot of people following me and buying my work. And it was crazy, man. I think that in 2021, like on the middle of 2021, I used to mint things and my works, and they were like the same day they started having bits. And So, so long story short, it's all my experience has been good, but it's always a matter of exposure. When you when the platforms give you the opportunity to be seen, it's always better for the artist. So I think that's something that a lot of artists have been complaining on Web3. No, that I I I don't want to call it gatekeeping because it's changed for the best at some of the platforms, but there are platforms where it's like really, really, really difficult to be on the to be showcased, like featured.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Yeah. There's a lot more people too, and I know what you mean. Like being on the front page of Foundation, even for a couple days, I'm sure you know that's very helpful. Even now, I feel like
Yeah.
nowadays that would be helpful.
Yes, it definitely is, man. And in 2021, I used to be man, like twice a week, like twice a week. It was like constant. So it changed, and I understand the reasons, and I understand the creation part and everything. But it's cool when you feel that um, you can get one of the those opportunities. And Foundation, to be honest, it to me is one of the best platforms in terms of innovation. They are always tweaking things and trying to come up with new stuff. I love Super Rare too, but Foundation is like more innovative. And I also love Nifty Gateway. I know that there's a lot of people that don't like Nifty, but the guys on Nifty has been real nice to me. Um, I had a very, very successful drop at the beginning of the year, and I have a I'm having a new one on August if everything goes well. One of their feature curated drops. So let's see what how it goes.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, yeah. I like Foundation. It's I mint some stuff as well, and for some reason I never really I've always just obviously like I use Manifold and then list it on OpenSea, but I think I like the way more that listing and bidding and all that happens in Foundation versus OpenSea. Yeah, it's
Yes.
a good
It-
platform.
yeah. It's really nice. It's really intuitive and user friendly.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, so I know we're a little bit over time, but yeah, I got like two more questions if you have time.
Yeah, I have the time, and to be honest, I think that you're gonna have to cut a lot of the things that because I talk too much. That's I always say it. I talk too much, so
Nah, you're good, man.
I
You're
need to.
good. You're good. Is there any artist currently right now that you admire or that you think is underrated or deserves like more attention in your personal opinion?
There are a couple. I like Everfresh. I like his work a lot. I like the Hyena. I have a couple of friends that it's not like I want to plug them in, but that there's people that has done some cool things. I the only collaboration that I ever made, I I, I know that I have to make more, and I have plans of doing it, but for for any some reason I haven't made enough. But the only collab I made with splits and everything is with Boxhead. It's a Spanish Spanish artist. She lives in the UK, but we make a pretty good piece together. She makes some cool stuff. Also, my friend Four Tears is a friend of mine from Poland. That he's a he's an architect too. So, but he's a very, how do you say, versatile artist, because he spends a lot of time being a tattoo artist. So he makes some cool tattoos. But he's in Web3, and he's minted a couple of really nice pieces. I really like his style, because um, I he most works mostly black and white. You should see it. It's pretty cool. And I don't know what else. Who else can I say?
Yeah, send me the links, man. I could put them in the show. I
Yeah.
could put it in the show notes too.
Awesome. I'm gonna, because my mind might be. Uh, I can be forgetting a couple of my good friends.
Yeah, no worries.
Um,
Yeah, and
um,
you can plug your friends as well. Not a problem, man. That's that new friend technology, as OG and the birds call it.
yeah, but yeah, I'm a big fan of but the one of my favorite is Tony Babel,
Yeah, yeah.
one of the best, and Macbeth. I'm a big fan of Macbeth before NFTs.
Yeah, Macbeth is awesome, man. I just recently got my first. Actually, I think I got my second Macbeth piece NFT recently. So I went from like zero to now I have two. Yeah, Macbeth is
Yeah,
awesome.
he's awesome. He's one of. Remember that when I told you about my art blog, I used to I made post of him like in 2010. So since 2010, I've been following his work. It's crazy. It's 13 years ago.
Yeah, that's a while back, man. Yeah, Macbeth is. He's doing some cool stuff too, like with Shopify and all that. And he's huge now, or like even bigger now, I'd say. Yeah. Let's see. What else do we have? Yeah, so like for anyone that's listening and maybe they're not familiar with you or anything, what do you think is the best way to get a piece from you right now? Like, what's the best entry into a piece of yours?
Well, I have a couple of minted works on Tesos on Object. I have like it's would be obviously those are like the most accessible to everyone.
Yeah,
Uh, Most of my works have been minted on Ethereum, but um, uh, I'm available on Foundation and Super Rare and Nifty. I Nifty. I've been working a lot more with editions lately. Part because of the bear market, and also because I don't know. I learned I I started navigating on Web3, even though I had some pretty good help from IHLs and a couple of artists that have been like really helpful with me. Like Nicolas Sassoon is one of the. I think that one of the artists that has helped me the most. He's always there when I need to talk with someone and ask for advice. Um, I, I've been working on a couple of new projects that I want to like um, you know I what's the name? Oh, async. I haven't minted anything on async, but one of the things that I want to do pretty soon is to create an interactive NFT on async. I submitted my information like 1.5 years ago, and they they accepted me, but I haven't minted anything yet, and I feel really bad about it. And also, FX Hash on Tesos
yeah,
that now is cross platform. They are now working with Ethereum. I have an idea of a project that I generative project I want to make with my drawings, but I'm looking for someone for a generative artist, because I at the beginning I was like, man, I'm gonna learn to code and I'm gonna do it all myself, and no, man, that's not it. I need to I need to work with somebody.
that's
I
funny,
I
man.
I, Yeah, no, no. That's the type of things that I've learned on Web3 is that, man, I made a lot of friends, and I sometimes I'm curious about things like sound. I there's just one piece that I created with sound, and I think that that's one of the ones that OG collected.
Hmm.
But but I think that I'm gonna start collaborating more on that kind of stuff, like working with some sound designers and generative artists, like to create stuff and keep doing the things that I'm good at. So not start complicated things by wanting to do everything myself.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally get it. Like, I'm kind of like that too. I sometimes need like a project to force me to learn things, and I like learning stuff like that. Especially now with like Chat GPT, you know, you could probably use it to help you do it, but you know, sometimes you just want to execute it, you know, better, or it might take you too long. And you know, as you were saying earlier, time is critical or a limited resource, you know. So that could be something you could you know, partner up with someone to do.
Yeah, yeah, and to finish that part of my projects, there's a project that I'm really proud of, but actually I did a terrible job of marketing it. It's a project that I made December of last year that's called Momo Blocks. That's basically a modular project. Modular project. You know that I told you that I work. Everything that I do is um, it's layer. It's like in different layers. Well, Momo Blocks is like a modular project of animations, like small animations, like Lego pieces, that then I put them all together into one piece, and they create a different story, a different art piece from modular pieces. For example, I can have a head that opens, but that splits in two, and then there's an element that comes out of it, and that's just a little corner on this big piece, but I then put it out in a different place in another piece, and that's like exchangeable pieces. So I made that project, and I've been creating a very big um, module library. So I have like hundreds of different small animations that all that that I can exchange them from different places. So Momo Blocks was the first collection that was like the first that I minted last year, and now I'm gonna do like a big, um, those drops, foundation drops.
Yeah.
Um, I'm thinking about doing one of that with a PFP project based on Momo Blocks,
Oh wow. Okay.
like a like different like box heads, like every like one of those with eyes, but the eyes are still looking at you at the camera, and in the back the head is transforming and having a lot of elements and things, machines working behind. It's, to be honest, I think it's easier to see it than explain it, but maybe when it is ready, and I'll let you know so you can understand a little bit
Yeah.
better what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. Let me know, man. Yeah. Be happy to check it out. Uh,
Also,
yeah. Let's see. All right. Uh, just because I gotta go get my kid too. All right, so I don't know if you know this, but like originally this whole thing, I used to call it pinchos, and I don't know if you know what pinchos are, but they're like tapas for Basque people. But so with that said, what's your favorite snack?
oh, you mean like it has to be like sweet salad? I mean, like, how do you say? No,
Savory.
salad. No, I mean like, Yeah, or it can be sweet.
It could be anything, man. Yeah, it just can't be a full like meal, you know.
Uh, here in Argentina, the sweet desserts are uh, out of out of control. It's crazy. So it's hard to not to get hooked with all of these pastries and stuff. But I'm a big ice cream person.
Oh, you like ice cream? All
I'm a,
right.
like a lot, and people talk about Italian ice cream like the best ice cream in the world. And I don't know, man. I went remember when my brother was studying in New York. I remember that he took me like to a place that was the best Italian ice cream in New York, and I had my really high expectations, and it doesn't compare to the ice cream in Argentina. I don't know why, man. It's incredible.
It's the milk, man. La leche.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you know, Argentina is a country known for the meat and the milk and the production. It's incredible how high quality those things are around here. When I have friends that come from other countries, from the states and stuff, they can't believe the meat. No, man, and also it's super when you come from other country with euros or dollars. It's super cheap too.
Yeah, I gotta go to Argentina really bad. Uh,
You have to, man. You have to. You let me know when you are around here, so I can take you out.
yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, I'm trying to. If they have like a Copa Libertadores in Argentina, I feel like if I could get tickets, I would definitely go. Uh,
Yeah,
I think the next one's in the
I
U.S.
think.
though.
Oh yeah, you mean the World Cup?
No, the Libertadores.
Ah no, I'm not sure when it's.
That's like the South American club soccer competition.
Yeah. I know I know the cup, but I
I'm forgetting where it
you know
is.
I love football. I love soccer, but that's like my number two. I live in a country where football is number one, two, three, and four. But I'm a basketball fan, big time, long time basketball fan, NBA fan.
Oh yeah, I love basketball. Yeah, both those sports. You're doing well with both those sports. Which team do you like in the NBA? You watch the NBA, right?
Yeah, yeah. You want to know? I told you I talk too much, but I'm gonna tell you my team, and I'm gonna tell you a funny story. I'm a long time suffering New York Knicks fan.
Oh wow, okay.
Like I've been a Knicks fan since 1991, I think. 1991. No championships, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, but it's like I can't, I can, I can switch teams at this age. It's been a long time,
Yeah, no, you can't
and the
you can't
funny story,
switch. It's
yeah,
not
I
it's not
can,
it's not
but
allowed, man. It's not allowed.
it's not allowed. And the funny thing is that I've been a long time, all my life, hopes junkie. And when I was in 2020, no 2010, when I was in Panama, there was a TV TV station there that used to air the NBA games, and they made a trivia competition that the first prize on the competition, you were winning you had the chance to win a trip to New York and meet the New York Knicks players. So my team, So I entered the competition, and I ended first in points. But when the competition ended, they say, man, the four best um, the people with the four best score have to come to the TV station and um, work as a broadcast, like a commentator for 1 quarter each person on live TV.
Wow.
So, so I go to the station. I wanted to win my trip, and I did my one. I work 1 quarter of it was a game between Miami Heat and Chicago Bulls. And the funny thing is that I didn't won the competition. They gave it. They gave the prize to a girl that was there, and later on, I learned that she was a friend of somebody in the TV station. But the thing is that 2 weeks later, they called me and told me that they wanted me to work for them. So I started working on TV with like an NBA commentator. It was a crazy story.
Yeah, that sounds like a whole separate life almost, man.
Yeah, because I was, I was architect by day. At the night, I went to the TV station for 3 years until I moved to Argentina. I was like an NBA TV broadcaster.
Wow. That's crazy, dude. That is crazy.
Yeah, that's super crazy, super crazy. My my younger daughter, she had the opportunity to see me on TV. So she was 3 years old, but she used to say, um, and sometimes I send her like I want to say hello to my daughter at the end of the transmission. So it was cool.
Yeah, that sounds cool, man. And I could.
I told you I talk too much. I told you
No,
you
no,
have
you're
to you
good, man.
have
You're
to.
good. You're good. Yeah, no, I'm just cracking up that you're a Knicks fan and that you were like a sports commentator. You should have started with you were a TV announcer first.
Yeah.
Yeah, a person of many talents.
Yeah. A person what?
Of many talents.
Oh. Thank you. It's crazy. It's crazy. I've done a lot of things in my life. You have no idea.
Yeah, man. No, that sounds like an eventful life, and you're still young, man. 40 is young.
44. Yeah.
Yeah, you're still young, man. It's old for Web3. I think we're grandpas. Me and you are grandpas in Web3, but for real life, you're young.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's right.
yeah. Well, I wanted to thank you, man. I appreciate you, taking the time to talk with me, and telling me about your story and your art and everything, man.
Really think this feeling